Shares slump as Bangkok court sets to hearing dates to consider a Thai Airways restructuring plan. On Friday, the 14th of August, the firm's auditors, Deloitte Touche Tohmatsu Jaiyos, declined to sign off on the airline's accounts to the 30th of June, citing concerns about financial liquidity, debt defaults and the ongoing losses of the venture as reasons. It comes as the Airline Industry Association IATA points to government support for national airlines worldwide facing $84 billion in losses this year. The body only sees things recovering in 2022 and 2023 in its most optimistic assessment. At Monday's hearing, the acting president of Thai Airways, Mr. Chansin Treenuchagron, did promise some relief for disgruntled customers waiting for refunds in respect of flights paid for but later cancelled. The steep incline of the challenge to save Thai Airways looked a little steeper on Monday after a court in Bangkok scheduled today to review a proposal to allow for the restructuring of the loss-making firm. At the hearing, however, it emerged that 16 creditors opposed the move, but management has pointed out that it has the support of creditors representing more than 50% of the liabilities in the company to press ahead. Shares slumped in value by nearly 12%. Thai Airways shares slumped. Bangkok court hearing dates consider a restructuring plan. The acting president of Thai Airways, Mr. Chansin Treenuchagron, issued a statement on Monday in which he described as promising a decision by the Central Bankruptcy Court to defer consideration of the company's vital restructuring plan to hearings on the 20th of August and 25th next. He also heralded a streamlined system for issuing ticket refunds on cancelled flights once creditors approve the company's restructuring plan, which will be put to them within 2 months of the court's decision to give the process the green light. At Monday's hearing, 16 creditors objected to the restructuring going ahead, but Mr. Chansin pointed out that over 50% of the creditors, by value, supported the management's plan. Thai Airways' shares lost 11.9% on Monday after a hearing before the Central Bankruptcy Court in Bangkok deferred a decision to approve the company's restructuring proposals, which may later be put to creditors if the court gives its assent. The share price in the national airline, of which the Thai government, through the Ministry of Finance, still maintains a shareholding north of 47%, dropped to 3.40 baht with over 8.5 million shares changing hands. The 20th of August and 25th set to review the plan. The court set the 20th of August and 25th as additional hearing dates to review and hear evidence on the plan put before it. It was revealed that 16 shareholders have objected to the court against the restructuring going ahead, including 3 institutional creditors and 13 others. Acting president said things look promising. The acting president of the troubled airline, Mr. Chansin Treenuchagron, issued a statement following the court hearing in which he said that things went smoothly and that the situation looked promising. The airline's restructuring proposal is being led by a committee of 7, including current management and Mr. Piswasti Amaranan, a respected former president of the airline and Minister of Energy, as well as Boontuk Wangcharoen, another Thai business heavyweight and former boss of TMB Bank. A company called EY Corporate Services Limited in Bangkok is advising the airline on the restructuring process. A promise for ticket holders seeking a refund on cancelled Thai Airways flights this year. During his interview with reporters, Mr. Chansin also had some good news for ticket holders of cancelled flights seeking a refund. He promised that once the restructuring proposal for the airline is approved by the court and subsequently by the creditors, a new streamlined refund system will come into effect to speed up the current regime. All customers would not have to spend much time and money during the refund procedure. They would only have to fill an application form to refund their payment. The rest of the process would be done by our officers, he said. Creditors representing more than 50% of liabilities reported being in favor of the plan on Monday. Mr. Chansin, an experienced executive and former boss of oil firm PTT, assured reporters that creditors who are in agreement with the planned restructuring represent more than 50% of the debts currently owed by the firm. This includes Thailand's Ministry of Finance. He suggested that if the courts give the green light, it will be 2 months before detailed plans are presented for approval by the creditors at a meeting. Shares in the airline suspended on Friday after bombshell from auditors who refused to sign accounts. Shares in Thai Airlines had been suspended on Friday last after its auditors, Deloitte Touche Tohmatsu Jaiyos, declined to sign the company's financial statements to the 30th of June, which showed a loss of 28 billion baht in the first half. The auditors raised concerns about the company's debt defaults and lack of financial liquidity. It suggested that these have raised material uncertainty over the future of the firm. The unsigned financial statements to the 30th of June show higher circulating liabilities than assets, as the company has consistently lost money since 2013. Scale of the business problems at Thai Airways is obvious and vast, as seen from the figures available. The scale of the problem at Thai Airways can be seen from the strange and remarkable outcome that saw the firm losing 5.34 billion baht in the second quarter compared to a higher loss of 6.89 billion baht in the same period last year, despite nearly all its aircraft being grounded for the period, with a loss of over 95% of passengers and a loss of income of 94%. Clearly, this suggests a mammoth task ahead of its management, both in terms of the firm's outlandish fixed overheads and its unsustainability due to its failure to generate operational profitability. Thai Airways applied for bankruptcy protection in May this year. Flying into the most depressed market since the industry began over 70 years ago, the firm will also be flying into a market which is experiencing the worst depression in its history, spanning over 70 years. In a June interview with the IATA, International Air Transport Association, CEO, Alexander Dujuniak, on France 2040 TV, the industry boss predicted that its airline members will lose at least $84 billion this year. Mr. Dujuniak predicted that it will be 2022 or 2023, at best, before the industry gets back to pre-pandemic levels. He predicted that the best-case scenario, assuming that there is no significant second wave or shutdown equivalent to the first, was that 2021 will see a 25% loss in traffic compared to a best-case prediction of 50% for this year. If there is no second wave, then that means the worst period is just behind us, the pragmatic CEO said. The situation is even bleaker for Thailand, where the current ban on passenger flights has now, officially, been deemed indefinite despite efforts in Europe and the US to restart, with admittedly faltering results, as COVID-19 infections rise, causing alarm, albeit with significantly reduced levels of hospitalization as of now. Old Thai Airways model cannot work. Mr. Dujuniak also raised concerns about the high-cost airline industry model pursued by Thai Airways in the past, pointing out that this pandemic may certainly see an end to the high cost and high levels of business travel, traditionally a fare that has subsidized many Thai Airways flights and was key to its past viability. The new Thai Airways plan is reported to be hinged on moving the airline towards being more competitive in the marketplace. IATA represents 82% of the airline industry, with over 290 participating airlines including Thai Airways, TG. IATA has called for COVID-19 testing at all airports worldwide and a return to open skies in recent months. The travel industry boss has pleaded with governments worldwide to install fast testing at airports and not to inhibit world air travel through quarantine or other restrictive measures as the best way to bring the world's economy back on track and ensure a revival of the global tourism industry. The IATA chief published a survey which showed 83% of travelers would not fly to a tourist destination with mandatory quarantine. However, in Thailand, it is clear that the government, the Thai public and medical experts have rejected this and have decidedly placed public health as the priority. Thailand's tourism authority is, therefore, currently ruling out any foreign tourism until at least early 2021. Government support for national airlines back in fashion in the US, France and Germany. Mr. Dujuniak has also pointed to crucial state support for airlines, at this time, with $20 billion having been pumped in by the US administration to support its airline industry, while in France and Germany both have supported their national airlines, with Air France and Lufthansa receiving cash handouts. It could well be that the 47% shareholding held by the Thai government, which, while it no longer is enough to maintain the status of Thai Airways as a state enterprise, could still be significant in its future. But only if its chronically high overhead level and its inability to meet market demands are addressed by its experienced and skilled new management team.